of the year in the league. And away we go. First ever meeting between these two schools. South Carolina State in the Navy, Tennessee in the home whites. As that one rolled out of bounds, you see Tennessee will inbound it to get things started here.
And you mentioned Johnson. He's expected to be their facilitator and their top scorer as well. So much like Tennessee, they're waiting and hoping somebody will step up and help in the backcourt.
It's another game on the road, the 12th road game for South Carolina State. It's a non-conference slate that is typical for this school, typically year in and year out. That's Jacoby Gillespie who lost the handle on that one. It leads to a run out and a vicious rejection at the rim. That was Felix Okpara. He's one of the better shot blockers in the league. He wiped out that Cameron Clark dunk attempt. Okpara's got it here, and he draws a foul. So you see Okpara there, number 34 in Tennessee's starting five. The second-year starter has taken a big step forward this season. It's a youthful, relatively speaking, starting five. You talked highly of Gillespie, the senior, but you see Brown and Ament, the two freshmen, Boswell, the sophomore. It's kind of uncharted territories relative to the last few years for Tennessee. A number of younger players in the starting lineup.
And all players, as you mentioned, that sort of grew up with Coach Rick Barnes. When he got them here, he coaches them hard and he expects a lot. And you see the development over the years with a lot of these guys.
Well, Okpara has been an example of that. He has taken a nice step forward from year one in Knoxville to year two. So the senior from Nigeria gets the Vols on the board. So the leading scorers for South Carolina State, it's Johnson and then also number 5 in the Navy tonight. That's Owen Bronston Jr. Matter of fact, he actually leads them in scoring, about 12 per game. They don't have necessarily a go-to alpha scorer. It's going to be a number of guys that get in on the action. After the Morrow miss, here goes Ament, a slam.
Well, SC State finds out fast when you take an ill-advised shot, you got to get back and you got to stop the basketball. Nate Ament gives you a little idea of why he's so highly regarded in terms of being able to run the floor, score in the half court.
The high-level athletic 5-star rookie.
One dribble, straight to the rim finish, but great advance pass by Tennessee. Get out in the lanes. They're going to be able to do that today against SC State.
South Carolina State, by the way, playing its second straight SEC opponent right before the holiday break. They faced South Carolina. That was Clark again on the rim run. Could not jam it down. Last touch by Clark. And so Tennessee has it. Well, Rick Barnes, you know, we talked to him earlier today. He has been vocal about how he's liking the direction of this program or the way this rotation is playing right now. He's one of the best to ever do it. Close to 850 wins, winningest active head coach. He played, his team played in his minds their best defensive game in the win 2 weeks ago against Louisville. Beat Gardner-Webb a little more than a week ago. So they're trying to go into SEC play on the upswing there. Ament now has 4.
Yeah, at 6'10", all he has to do is get a little separation. Not much, because he can shoot over just about anyone who's going to defend him on that perimeter. But under the control and soft touch.
At long reach, the freshman from Virginia. Clark had it stripped away. South Carolina State having some trouble on the offensive end. Ament drive and kick, threw it away. That's Florian Tennesse, who anticipated the pass. Tennesse goes in strong and draws the foul. So Barnes' counterpart tonight is someone who he has seen opposite him on sidelines in years past.
That is
that's Eric Martin, the reigning MEAC Coach of the Year. Guided his team to a regular season title a year ago. First in more than 2 decades for the program. Remember, he was the longtime Bob Huggins assistant. So West Virginia's first few years in the Big 12 were some of Rick Barnes' last years in that league when he was at Texas. So those two interacted many times before.
A game away from going in the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
And they've had a lot of issues this year with bringing in new players. So you got some level of turnover right there, and then you've got injuries, and it's not anything unique to what I'd say, you know, at least over 50% of what the teams are having to deal with. bringing back players is like having a pot of gold. South Carolina State, now we've seen them go man, full court pressure, and now the half-court zone, do anything to throw Tennessee, just disrupt them any way they can.
Ament lines up the three. He wants it offline. That's Morrow who secured the board for South Carolina State. The Bulldogs record, Pat, they're 1-13. This is their 12th road game. They've played a bevy of power conference teams. So the record's a little misleading. We've had some very close outcomes as well against some more similar competition. Here's Johnson, again, preseason player of the year in the league, and he splashes his first triple.
He can hurt you from that three-point line, so you have to know where he is at all times. And I hope he is in fantastic condition, because he's going to get chased around the court the entire night.
Here's Gillespie, 4-3.
That pass comes from Bishop Boswell, who, under control, could have caught it, shot it, took his time, swung it to his man, Jacoby Gillespie. So give up a good shot for a great one.
And Gillespie, he is effective and reliable from distance.
And it is the challenge for South Carolina State. You want to be patient. You want to make Tennessee defend, but also, if you can make tough shots like that, then, you know, every once in a while, maybe if you can get ahead of the defense, get a couple of easy buckets. Third turnover.
Ament had it knocked away. And so here comes Johnson and South Carolina State. They've hit back-to-back, drive and kick, three in the air. Bronston misfired. Bishop Boswell secures it.
I like that run with opportunity. Get yourself a good look from the corner three.
South Carolina State's one win a couple of weeks ago against an NAIA team. So this is their final non-conference game before opening up league play next week as well. So there's another Tennessee turnover on this side. That was Morrow again who anticipated it.
And they had the Tennessee coach Barnes talked about it. The attention to detail at times and the focus, didn't like it. Didn't like it in the Illinois game. Didn't like it in the Syracuse game, where they were right there, one possession at the end.
Johnson offline. It was that recent three-game losing streak that led to some harsh practices. Put it down.
Battle for NIL, so he's got a great recruiting pitch telling you, listen, I can get you where you want to go. If you just trust in me, coach you up for a year or two. And he showed. Last year they had some great success. And this year, like you said, their record is, you know, they've run up against some monster teams, so they'll be fine in conference.
But that's the important trajectory right there, how they have improved year after year in the MEAC.
Talk about improving. How about JP Estrella?
Oh, there's another steal here, so you got to credit the defensive tenacity for South Carolina State. They have forced a handful of Tennessee turnovers in the first 5 minutes. That was nearly the sixth.
It was in Tennessee in years past. They're known for taking care of the basketball defensively. Right there, that big fella gets you on his back, on his hip.
That's Jalen Carey. I mean, that's nearly automatic when he catches it that deep in the post the first year of all.
But that was some of the issues with Tennessee. It wasn't like they turned it over a bunch in those losses, but it was at those bad times. There were live ball turnovers. And that's one thing they're going to have to clean up, especially moving to SEC play. And these aren't forced, right? They're trying to make the extra pass. I get it, the advanced pass, which is good. Just mentioning, talking about improvement, Tennessee's JP Estrella, the big fella who had some injuries last year.
Just checked in. So Estrella and Carey on the floor.
Those two guys are certified low post threats, which Tennessee has to utilize to get some of those shooters open.
So an empty trip to the free throw line there. You can see some of Estrella's numbers and what he has done this year. He's been very efficient. Amari Evans, by the way, #1 in the white, gets some early minutes. Noah Treadwell is the freshman who's got it for the Bulldogs. Fires from distance. Evans with the board. Evans looking to take it coast to coast. Draws the foul. And that one is going to be counted. It was on the way down, so a goaltending.
No hesitation, exactly. Great call right there. Good camera work, too.
And that was clearly on the gather, so he is going to the line for the three-point play. That's the first on Rainiel Wright. So Evans misfires. Estrella trying to keep it alive, and he is successful. Abram wants three, offline. Tennessee by 5, 6 minutes into this one. The non-conference finale for both of these teams.
Now this is Tennessee's a #1 scoring defense in the SEC, #1 defensive field goal team, so it's going to be a challenge for South Carolina State to get a really good look.
Tennessee has got that physicality and size advantage. Deep one for Gillespie, misfired, and then a foul. That's on the Vols. Ball back to the Bulldogs.
And the Vols currently are #2 in the country when it comes to offensive rebounding percentage. You got Jalen Carey in there, who is just a gigantic person, takes up a lot of space. JP Estrella, and then of course Felix Okpara. I mean, those three guys. And Nate Amet's obviously 6'10".
6'10",
perimeter guy. He gets in there and he can hit the glass.
So that will be the challenge today for South Carolina State. Of course, the underdogs in this one, the heavy underdogs, lacking that size and physicality compared to Tennessee. Can they make their jump shots like they did on a couple of possessions early on? Vols have it here. This is Ethan Berg.
It's a good trap right there. Get the ball in his hands, force that shot.
Carey, a new 20, back out to Abram, offline. And it'll be a third look for the Vols. And Carey says enough of that to take it in. He's going back to the line where he tries to make up for the missed pair from a few moments ago.
Yeah, Carey's going to be able to get what he wants in the paint. He's just so big and strong. South Carolina State has some decent size. It's just the strength of Jalen Carey overpowers just about anybody he's going to match up with.
You know, he was already big physical a year ago. Somehow
bigger,
he found a way to bulk up a little more. 6'8", 265 pounds. And that is an edge rusher. The junior, remember, broke out last year at Vanderbilt. Hit the portal.
Coach Barnes was telling us about a new Italian restaurant here in Knoxville. Maybe he's been frequenting that on a daily basis, which I don't blame him.
RB, he knows. Look, all those years at Providence, right?
Oh, yeah.
He knows some good Italian.
Federal Hill.
Carey has been productive. Second on the team in rebounding, averaging close to 10 a game. And so he does get one at the line. Little choppy start to this one, pace-wise. Tennessee trying to settle into a rhythm. South Carolina State looking to get something going on this end of the floor. They're just 2 for 10 from the field.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of movement in the offense. South Carolina State, that's what they want to do. However, Tennessee is just so good. They don't need help. And they force you to have to make a tough two. And that's usually the result.
And there's another stop. This physical, fierce, rugged Tennessee defense.
Clarence Masamba, the freshman from Paris, France, is in. Great athlete.
Yep, he's got it here. This is everything. Estrella, though, secures the board.
He's a much better shooter than that, I'm just going to tell you.
Estrella with 7 seconds here, lost it. And South Carolina State takes it away. Looking to push. Rainiel Wright, one of the backup point guards off the bench.
Now
kick it over to Johnson.
Yeah, he can play off the ball. And
Bulldogs haven't scored in 4 minutes. They're trying to see something go through the hoop. Bronston must give it up. Right between the legs with 5 to shoot. Bounce it down to Derwin Hodge. Hodge lost it. 1 second. Shot clock violation. And the stingy defense continues. Just as important as all the other items that get logged down there. You know, and by the way, he could score it a little bit too.
Yep.
Just FYI. And yeah, he follows Estrella right there. So Tennessee has this 9-point edge. You know, you can tell the coaching staff when you interact with them. They're very encouraged, optimistic about where this team can be defensive. They're already very strong defensively, but the ceiling. Remember, it was 2 weeks ago they held Louisville to 62 points in this building. Rick Barnes and the staff, they were very vocal about saying, yeah, that was the best defensive performance we have had this season. Johnson draws the foul there, will go to the line.
Well, and they lead the SEC in 3-point field goal defense. Louisville is one of the highest rated 3-point shooting teams in the country, so that was number one. We've got to run them off the 3-point line, challenge them from the 3-point line, and they were able to do that. But Tennessee's got the great length. We talked about the big guys, and you add Nate Ament to that at 6'10". I know he's primarily a perimeter guy, but when you get a 6'10" lengthy guy like that, and, you know, I would say, and just think if they had Cade Phillips, who's now injured, what he could have added to that front line of Tennessee. Missed him over the top. Here's where to switch back to a man.
This is Estrella who has it, hits the cutting. Berg hits a little give and go.
One of the other advantages Tennessee has is all of their three big guys, Estrella, Carey, and Phillips Opak, they can all pass. They're good passers. So you see in their high-low, you can cut off them. You trap them in the post. They're kicking out for a 3-point shot. So it's key for Tennessee to get the paint touch, or at least get the big guys touches.
By the way, this unit for Tennessee, it is largely the second unit, and some guys that haven't gotten that much run this year. We've got that's a travel, by the way. Ball back to Tennessee.
I also think it's important for Ethan Berg to get some good minutes at the point guard position. Gillespie comes back in, because Berg's going to have to do that. He's going to have to either come in to give Gillespie a blow for a few minutes, or even allow him to play off ball sometimes. So to have him get minutes at the point guard position, which just gives him that experience, it's just more valuable. Now, he's a shooter now, right? Don't get it wrong now. He's going to catch and shoot.
This is Carey breaking the press. Jalen Carey finishes. The junior from Florida.
Yeah, you see the decision-making ability there. You put a big guy in that situation. A lot of times that's a charge. A lot of times he tries to sneak it to his big guy, turnover. These bigs are a little bit different.
South Carolina State trying to figure out how to solve the Rubik's Cube. This is Johnson, who's got 6 of his team's 7 points. Johnson, a fadeaway. Morrow has it. Morrow going back up. We got the wedgie.
The old wedge.
Boy, by a thread there. That was, I'm not sure how that was hanging on there. It barely got wedged in there.
Here's Jalen Carey. Look at him. Plays it well. The defender never committed to him. He just played in the middle. So the defender doesn't commit to you totally. You got a straight line. You take that.
Good decision by Carey. 4 points, 3 boards early on for the first-year Vol.
I think the basketball leather is different. Why we get more wedges now. I'm telling you. Whoa.
It's all there's a bank 3, by the way, for Morrow.
The look on Morrow's face, he was surprised.
Oh, it's great tactic, too.
Yeah.
He missed the rim, missed everything. Well, the leather. You're going to blame it on the leather. Carey's going back to the line. These will be his 5th and 6th free throws. So he has been a focal point in this first half.
That Jalen Carey, if you are wondering how strong this guy is, that is a perfect example. He understands how to keep the defender on either hip, can feel him really well. It gets big and strong, so as a guard, you can throw it to him. You know, you always tell me you don't want to throw it to your big guys when you're playing in your church league.
Well, more shots for me, of course.
They don't get big and strong. Watch how he gets big and strong. Watch this. Puts him on his hip. Boom, he hits him. See where he hits him right there, a couple feet, right in between the SEC logo, and there's once he's got you in that position, game over, lights out.
You know, he bulked up about 10, 15 pounds in the offseason. He is a force inside. That will be an SEC play with it around the corner.
The next step in his game, because he can draw so many fouls, He's improving that free throw percentage. Just under 50.
Tennessee by 10 in a very low scoring. There's Carey on the floor. They got the entire Tennessee. Yeah, Pops, Vernon. Remember all those years with the Miami Dolphins, the defensive tackle.
Be proud of that play right there.
That's a fumble. That's a fumble
recovery right there.
That's a fumble recovery.
Take it the other way. No scoop and score this time, though.
And then remember, Big Bro. Remember his season at Duke? That jumper is pure. And Vernon Carey Sr. was on that 2001 National Championship team for Carey. Gonna rip the rim down.
I might want to check that halftime. I think there's a crack in that, or no doubt orange paint just flew off that rim.
I think he did chip a little. You're right. No, seriously, he chipped a little bit of the orange paint off of the rim. Unless that's some sort of design flaw. Tennessee by 10 once again. So Carey has been a menace. He's got 7. But it's even just his presence is, to your point, it's felt as if the impact has been bigger. 4 to shoot for Johnson. He is cut off by Carey. Johnson with 1. The floater missed it. And it is difficult for South Carolina State on this end. Let's see if they can get something in transition. Open look for Johnson.
Well, you have your turnover and you get it to your best player, and Johnson making them.
Iron. Okay, they were in action earlier tonight in Nashville, taking on Illinois in their bowl game. And okay, how about this? Tennessee, they were down 2 scores earlier on the gridiron. They've come back to take a 1-point lead over Illinois. So Vol Nation multitasking right now. By the way, Johnson back on the floor for the Bulldogs.
How much better of a week can you have? Christmas, New Year's.
A lot going on. Gillespie at the line. Jacoby Gillespie, the senior from Greenville, Maryland.
And we talked about the challenges for South Carolina State and what Tennessee's defense can do to you. And really, South Carolina State, outside of making some difficult 2s and a couple of open 3s, they haven't scored in the paint. And that's the size of Jalen Carey, Estrella, Para. Just cut you off. You can't get anything in that orange.
And that was the challenge coming in, handling that physicality, being a little overmatched from that standpoint. Now, credit Johnson, by the way. He has been asked to put the ball in his hands and make some plays. This is the preseason player of the year in the league. We have seen, it's been very clear to this point, Pat, an array of shots he can make. Ament back on the floor, and Nate Ament goes to the line.
So not settling for a deep 3. That's forcing Gillespie to stay in front of him. Put him in a little spin cycle, too, though. That was a heck of a move.
Yeah, he has displayed a variety of shots that he can hit. Ament, meanwhile, converts one at the line.
Well, he's a catch-and-shoot 3-point shooter. We saw him right down there, break down the defense. He's got a nice little floater.
They're going to have to deal with a little bit of backcourt heat. This is Florian Tennesse.
Once again, if you're SC State, you hope he's the most well-conditioned athlete on the court, because he's going to be running around a lot.
Pat, all things considered, they're down 8. Oh, Akpara, get that out of here. That was a spike. They're down 8 late in the first. Johnson, yes, that's another. Make it just a 6-point deficit. And in a lot of ways, impressive stuff from South Carolina State to stay this close.
Johnson does a good job. He just found that loose ball. Didn't hesitate. He had few feet to get that off.
He has got 13 of the Bulldogs' 19. Gillespie is open, offline. Akpara reaching for it. Akpara with the throwdown. He earned it, and then he slammed it. So Tennessee with its 6th offensive rebound.
Yeah, for Tennessee, some of the best offense has been after they missed the 3, got on the offensive glass, and they're going to be doing that to a lot of teams this year.
Ament, the McDonald's All-American, was looking to push, and then he draws the foul. That is the first on Deshae Knightswright.
Unnecessary foul right there. Gillespie, pretty wide open three off a good skip pass. Akpara and Dwayne Brown are just pushing people around in the paint. It's almost unfair, but that's what you expect from Felix Akpara, man. He's going to catch lobs. He's going to get on the offensive glass. He's going to block shots.
That was all effort on that one, and the instincts to have the awareness of where to be. Credit Carey that time. Or pardon me, Dwayne Brown for the knockout. And Tennessee gets another look. Less than 5 to play, first half. Brown coming to set the screen. Ament goes that way. Johnson with the reach in. And so it will be 2 free throws for the freshman in a moment.
Coach Barnes could not talk higher of Dwayne Brown, the freshman from Alabama. And how versatile he is. Smart player. Great length, wingspan.
Really impressive, yeah, reach.
He's got good touch. You know, and he's been asked to step into a starting role because of his high IQ and his consistency. That's what earned him as many minutes as he's been getting.
Highest ranked player in the state of Alabama is one of the several top 100 recruits that were part of that 25 class. Tennessee having a little trouble at the free throw line, so Ament does hit that one. Yet they're only 10, and they've taken 17. That's great. They've only hit 10. 9-point advantage late in this low-scoring first half.
Yeah, there have been times this season when they struggle from the free throw line. And for a team that's so physical on the glass, attacking the rim, they sit currently, just for perspective, 13 out of 16 in the Southeastern Conference, 71%. With South Carolina being at 78%, so it gives you a little idea.
So after that latest Carey foul, South Carolina State on this end of the floor. 7 out of 22 from the field, shooting 32%. Again, most of their production coming from this sophomore from Brooklyn, Jaden Johnson. And so now they inbound it in front of the Tennessee bench.
You could see him in shoot around today. He's going through some shooting drills, and he knocked down maybe about 8, 9, 10 in a row, and he was just hopping around. When you warm up during that day, you can tell sometimes as a player if you're feeling it. You know, if you're going to be in the zone.
The edge.
The edge.
Sometimes that edge is there.
It is.
Nice jump shot from Raniel Wright. It's the junior from Inglewood, California. One of the many, you pointed it out before, many first-year Bulldogs. A lot of them coming from the junior college ranks. Oh. He was good in the Louisville win 2 weeks ago at 13-7. And today is Tennessee's leading scorer. He's got 9 on 3 of 4 shooting from the field.
One thing, talking to Coach Martin, he stressed patience, and sometimes too many passes results in a turnover if you're not aggressive to try to look to score. You're going to turn it over.
Another takeaway. Akpara underneath. Extra pass to Boswell. Now Carey looking to go to work. South Carolina State forces him to pass it back out. Gillespie draws the foul. Gillespie goes to the line to shoot a pair when we return. Tennessee by 10 in Knoxville to close out the Gillespie got fouled before the timeout. He converts twice at the line.
You give credit to because Jacoby on the defensive end has primarily had to guard Jaden Johnson, who, as you can tell, has the ball in his hands quite a bit for a good reason. Just defending him is not easy, having to defend high ball screens, and his ability, the way that he can shake you to stay in front of him and make tough shots. So that was a good defensive possession by Gillespie.
So Tennesse draws the foul. That's the 16th foul on Tennessee. First on Boswell. Tyndall inside. The freshman gets rejected. That's Okpara with another block. Amen. Feed it inside. Carey bothered, and it was knocked out.
Had the right idea. Credit South Carolina State. I mean, they sent 4 guys straight to him, and he still was almost able to pick one of his teammates out for an open jump shot. Great job by Ament, though, recognizing in that situation, get it to your big guy, play through him.
Gillespie contested 3. He hits another. Jacoby Gillespie.
Smooth looking jump shot.
He's got 10, and Tennessee has now opened up its largest lead of the game, up 15.
Now, Bishop Boswell is regarded as the best defensive player, certainly on the perimeter of Tennessee. He'll guard anyone, anytime, anywhere. And he is a player that really does it all for Tennessee.
Carey got a piece of that one. There was a whistle and a foul on Cushing Academy. Comes down to Orangeburg. Last year winds up with the all-rookie team. Turned in a fine year for, again, a MEAC championship team. And he was one of the better players returning in the MEAC this year. So it was a no-brainer. He was voted the preseason player of the year. Heightened expectations for this second-year Bulldog. Final 2 minutes of this first half. Boswell cuts. They work it back around to the wing. Ament stops on a dime, had that one knocked loose. Wright and the Dogs in transition. Treadwell is open. Ball fake, drive it, bounce it, turnover. Gillespie, foot on the gas. Gillespie got it. Jacoby Gillespie, the senior from Maryland. He has been one of the more productive players in the SEC in the non-conference. Hodge bumping into Amen. Tennesse, a hesitation. The fall away is strong. And a lucky bounce here, a fortuitous one for South Carolina State. They're going to do 20.
20 and trying to do it. Player movement, ball movement, wear down that Tennessee's defense. It just coming waves at you, though.
Only 3 to shoot. Morrow senses it. He's got to chuck it. Morrow was there, got it back. Morrow scores it.
Earlier in the half, he made one off the backboard from the top of the key there. Rick Barnes not happy. But another
slate on Saturday. The gauntlet is back. Gillespie with the left hand, the finger roll. He was that time just gliding in transition.
It's a great pass and good decision. Defender never committed to him, didn't try to force it to Estrella.
So this is 14 first half points for Jacoby Gillespie. That leads everybody. One last look, presumably for South Carolina State. Bronston offline, and then a loose ball foul on the Bulldogs. So Tennessee has it, 13.9 left.
And that'll get them back to the free throw line.
That's right.
Which you'd expect, just because of the commitment they've had tonight about playing inside first. And we were talking with Coach about that. Really, any one of the coaches from the Tennessee staff that we talked to, you've got to get it to these big guys. They're good passing big guys. You saw Jalen Carey 2 possessions ago. Catches it right around the top of the key area. Nice bounce pass to Gillespie. But the other thing is these big guys have really good hands, right? So you can trust throwing it to them. Carey, Estrella, even Dwayne Brown. Yep. I mean, he's, you think about, he's in, it's not even January yet, SEC play, and he's already established himself as a dependable, trustworthy player at 6'8". Great footwork, great hands.
Playing 15 minutes a game has started the last couple for Tennessee. That is another empty trip to the line So the Vols having some trouble there. They've missed 9 free throws. Yet they have the 15-point lead. 6 seconds to go, first half. Johnson lost the footing. Johnson blocked. 1 second. That's the half.
Oh,
or is it? Evans. There's a foul call. So Evans got fouled attempting the 3 from 3/4 court.
That is every...
A nice screen and roll.
Nice screen roll. What makes a play like that important is Brown knows where to set a screen, how to set a screen, the timing on when to roll to the basket, be big, so Gillespie can get him the basketball on time, on target.
You know, this freshman Brown hails from Hoover, Alabama. You mentioned this before, in the first half. He has very quickly earned the trust of this staff. That's hard to do as a freshman for Rick Barnes. So, you know, it shows you just how he does the little things, makes the right smart plays more often than not.
I got my guys down there in Alabama. They said he's my man Bart Heiss, most impressive high school guy since Boogie Cousins to come out of Alabama.
That's a big one. So Tennessee in that first half shot 62% from the floor. The lead would have been larger. They really struggled at the free throw line. Wound up missing 11 free throws in the first half. Meanwhile, on the other side here, Florian Tennesse is going to the free throw line. Second foul on Boswell. And so, you know, this one we commented on in the first half that there were some choppy sequences, probably too many fouls on both sides. So South Carolina State is trying to get things going on this end of the floor. They struggled against Tennessee's fierce defense. And that was a positive in that first half. Bulldogs only shot 30%.
Which we know many will. And you go back to Tennessee and what they would like to clean up. It's really been the two things that we saw Tennessee when they had their losses. Missed free throws and turnovers. And they went through some spurts where they turned it over. And they did that at times in this first half. Only averaged 12 turnovers a game. And then the free throw line. A physical team, you got to be able to clean that up. You got to be able to make your free throws, especially these big guys.
There's Boswell on the attack. Gillespie with 8 on the timer, working off the Brown screen. Over to Boswell, steps into it. Yeah, Bishop Boswell.
Well, that's how you average 19 assists a game. Turned down that good one for a great one. Gillespie could have come off that screen and pulled up for that 3, chose not to. Rewards his buddy, Bishop Boswell.
So Gillespie's got 3 assists. The assist rate very high for this Tennessee team. Bronston, he has the reputation of a shooter. Ooh. Missed it. Oh, a deep down the field connection. Count that. That's an easy goaltend. And so Boswell quickly has 5 in the last couple of moments.
As Gillespie turning the corner, which he does so well, makes the help defender commit just enough to where Boswell can take his time, get on balance.
Got a turnover here, Pat, in the backcourt. And so Tennessee flexing its muscles. Gillespie looking to create. No angle for Ament. Akpara stays true. You know, he was working all day there on that possession. He goes to the line.
Well, we saw another example how all 5 guys are connected on that offensive possession. Nate Ament, one dribble we saw early in the first half. He's had a situation in that offensive play where it's 2 dribbles, nice little baseline floater. That time recognizes Akpara has an advantage. Gets it to Dwayne Brown at the top. Nice little high-low action. Smart play by Dwayne Brown.
So Akpara is perfect at the line. He's 3 of 3.
How about that? How about that?
Somebody is.
Somebody is.
Yeah, that's one where you wonder how much that sits in the back of the mind. That has definitely been a talking point around Vol hoops and around Vol Nation their last couple of games. That was easy for Ament. Could not finish it, though, after the offensive rebound. And they played well in their recent wins against Gardner-Webb and Louisville. There were some struggles with the line. Wow, Bronston tried to stuff it.
He never got it up over the rim.
And then Clark snags that pass. Brown was running. Tennessee could not find him. So these Vols, they have started the second half on a 9-0 run.
was trending that way towards the end of the first. And South Carolina State, they just overmatched and getting worn down. And this guy right here, Jaden Johnson, he's the only hope, getting hot.
At the 17 first half points, Tennesse draws the foul. So Florian Tennesse, the Frenchman, goes to the free throw line.
This game and the games that South Carolina State have played are so valuable for these guys. I don't know if he's playing a great facility, but they start their conference play on Saturday.
Yep.
And with a lot of new faces, of course, their best player, Jaden Johnson's back, but you want to see them have these challenges and struggles to see what kind of team you got.
You know, Martin said that earlier today. The identity is forming. It is. Again, it might be hard to really recognize that with the record the way it is. It is worth pointing out it is always a very road-heavy non-conference slate for a program like South Carolina State. 12 road games. Eric Martin, he joked, he goes, I think we've traveled, what, almost 10,000 miles here collectively. I say joked, I think that was the serious estimate, though. And so it has been a challenging slate, but maybe as tough as it is for some of the players, you know, again, it's tough when the record is what it is, but they are moving in the right direction. Pass inside, Brown got it in the...
React to his hard drive to the baseline, and again, Dwayne Brown in the right spot where he's supposed to be, diving to the basket.
This is Gillespie after the miss.
Under control, fast break opportunity.
Oh, look at that one. That's an easy one for Akpara.
Well, everybody is in the correct position. Gillespie pushes it to Ament on the wing, who's a threat to shoot, drive. And then you got Dwayne Brown again right there at the top of the key area for a nice high-low.
28 points now for Tennesse in the paint. That is where it excelled in those recent wins against Louisville and Gardner-Webb. Stays here with the Bulldogs. Johnson lets it fly. You know, he's got that quick release and splashes another triple, his third.
Yeah, he was just dancing with it right there. JP Estrella did all he could, get those big long arms out there to try to affect it.
Abram open, could not hit the left wing triple. Amari Evans gets his team a new 20. Bounce pass, carry with the left. Yes.
Point of emphasis, getting these big guys involved. That is crucial all season long for Tennesse. It's just going to open up shots for Gillespie, Boswell, Ament on the perimeter.
Pass inside, Estrella caught the arm. That time it was a couple of decades of Vol basketball. You and Chris Lofton comes to mind, Grant Williams. I mean, you were one of the more really beloved fan favorites for this program in the last couple of decades of the program's history. You know, when you think back on those 4 years, the legacy you and all your teammates left, what do you start thinking about? Where does your mind go?
That's a really good question. You know, it's really hard in the moment to just see and notice everything. You know, notice all the good that we're doing. Because in the moment, we're just trying to work. We're just trying to get better and better.
Rick Barnes wouldn't let you either.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. You would be doing well, and he'll come back the next day and humble you. So, you know, in the moment, you don't really realize it. But looking back at it, you know, just looking at everything that we've done, all my teammates, you know, we really set the standard. You know, that was something that we used to say in the locker room a lot. You know, we got to set the standard. You know we got to play to our standard. So, you know, just all the winning, you know, how fun that really was, you know, confetti. We won the SEC tournament my freshman year. Just all that just still comes to mind. You know, it was really just a really big blessing to even be here and to be a part of a program like this.
What's your feelings on right there, just the dominant offensive rebounding?
Well, this is look at Carey, by the way, just relentless underneath. You played against him last year. Now he's wearing the Vol colors here, but it was he and Estrella just attacking the glass.
Yeah, they attack the grass like animals.
So you hadn't got a chance to see this team.
Not really. Cash, what I tell you.
There's Gillespie from, what, 30 feet?
What are your impressions of him? Obviously, he's leading the Vols in scoring, assists, third in the SEC in assists.
Yeah, he's a great player. You know, I love to watch his game. You know, he's somebody, when he first got here, I remember watching him at Maryland in the tournament. So, you know, just having that little bit of background, knowing that, you know, Coach Barnes giving him the keys, and he is a great person. I got them keys to that car.
Is this your first time? Because you've been playing professionally over in France.
Yeah.
South Carolina State can't answer here with the 3. You've been playing the last few months over in the French A-League.
Yeah.
Is this your first time back to watch a game this year?
Yeah, it's my first time back in Knoxville since I left. So I've been back. I left around August, so it's my first time back. I'm glad I was able to catch a game.
It's not easy to come into this building after you put on that uniform. First time that you didn't have a uniform.
Yeah.
I can remember that, and it's not an easy feeling. You just want to be out there.
Yeah, man. I mean, just seeing them warm up and practice, and I was just like, man, that was me for the past 4 years. So, you know, just sitting on the side, it's a little bit different. You know, I'm not as tired, you know, with Coach Barnes practices, but, but you know, it's really, I really appreciate, you know, just being here.
You know, I want to maybe spend a quick moment on that. Here's
Good
Evans.
shot, boy.
He does hit the 3. That's Amari Evans, freshman from Pittsburgh.
That's my boy.
Another Northeast guy.
Yeah, that's a lightning boy.
Oh, your AAU team.
Yep.
That's right.
You know, so you're from Long Island.
Yeah.
Here you are. It was kind of late in your recruitment. Throw down. So it's an Evans burst. That's 5 straight for Amari Evans.
There we go.
You talk about those AAU days, the high school days. It's getting late in your high school career. All of a sudden, Tennessee finds you. You wind up coming here. You know, look, you said it before. Rick Barnes, I mean, he really pushed you. This is Berg now trying to line up the 3. Estrella gets his team a new 20.
One. Cash out. Good shot, boy.
There's another. Troy Henderson.
Cash out.
Tennessee on a run here.
Good shot, Troy. Yes, sir.
And it's a timeout taken by South Carolina State. All of a sudden, you sit here, and Tennessee goes on. You know, this program has achieved so much the last 7-8 years, particularly the last 4. You guys go to back-to-back Elite Eights the last couple of seasons. Let's go back to something you said. In the locker room, what did you guys say? The standard. We are keeping that and setting that standard.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, there's some games that we might have won, but we didn't win the way we wanted to, and we'll come back and be angry. So, you know, just having that standard all the time, whether it's practice, film, individual workout. Hey! Yes, sir.
Does this?
They're pouring it in right now.
Any similarities with this team that you see of some of the teams that you played on?
You know, Rick Barnes' team always going to have some similarities. Yeah,
physicality,
you know,
defense.
Exactly. That's something that he preaches, you know, and that's an everyday thing.
Your consistency, though, from being at the program for so long and essentially a new backcourt right this year, the challenges of that for some of these guys that are entering into a top 15 program.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, some guys come from some programs that, you know, they might not have won or had to set their stuff at this type of standard, but you know, just coming into a program like this, like everybody knows it's going to be tough. You know, me, Jordan, Jamal, we always spoke about it, like it's going to be tough for those guys, but you know, we can talk to them as much as we can, and once they figure it out, we know they'll get it all done after that.
You know, Rick was hard on you, you know, but you were able to handle it. You know, how did you manage that? You know, you knew what he was doing. You wanted the best and the most out of you. And you start evolving into that alpha throughout your career.
Yeah, most definitely.
How would you describe that?
Yeah, well, you know, I feel like the first part of that was his accent, my accent. I couldn't understand him. He couldn't understand me. So, you know, he might have been
play dumb whenever you need to.
Exactly. So he might say something, and I really won't know what he's saying. But now I would just say that, you know, I come from a pretty tough background. You know, my mom, she's she's much as a sore loser as I am. So, you know, whenever I did bad or something, or she was on me, whether I did good, she would tell me what I did wrong. So I feel like that.
Significant stuff when you think about how this program, the last 5 to 10 years, has risen to the prominence that it has arose to.
Yeah, and it's no surprise under Coach Rick Barnes, when he was in Providence in the 90s and moved on to Clemson and Texas, and he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
I know he's been nominated. He needs to get in because what he's done, obviously winning basketball games, as we just saw the graphic there, #1 among active coaches. But just what he does and the connection he makes with his players, I mean, he's changed a lot of their lives.
Yep. Here's South Carolina State after the steal. That's a Treadwell 3. It's offline. And then you start to peel back the layers even a little further. Consecutive Elite 8 runs the last 2 seasons. That is the deepest the program has ever reached in the NCAA tournament. And so you know what that means. You know what the big aspiration is. That one last box to check. And that is Tennessee breaking through to a Final Four. Would be the first in program history. And we showed it all. It might be the last one to check, Pat.
Yeah.
Well, they have been right there on the precipice the last couple of years.
Yeah, they've had teams good enough, and we know how difficult the tournament is.
Yep.
You're going to win 6 games in 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, so anything can happen.
Toughest tournament.
Trouble, injury.
Yeah, toughest tournament to win. Really, of all tournaments. Tennesse misfires, and then a foul. Ball's going back to Tennessee.
The other remarkable thing with Coach Barnes is he's been able to adjust. Think about him being in basketball. I'm not going to say how old he is, but he's up there. Okay, Coach, you're up there. You still look great. But he's been able to adjust over decades. I'm talking 5 decades.
He hasn't lost his sense of humor either in the 5 decades.
No. Well, and the other thing, we're very fortunate to be able to be around these Hall of Fame coaches and Hall of Fame men. And when we talk to Coach, he wants to ask about you. He wants to, so it's really impressive, but he's the most prepared guy, or I'll put it this way, there isn't a more prepared guy. And that's why, you know, he can't, you know, he knows they've uncovered, you know, turned over every rock. They've done every scouting report, and he's got some great assistant coaches that help him do that. And he allows them to coach. That's the other thing.
You know, that is a point to underscore. Brown draws the foul. You know, it feels like almost every time you talk ball with Rick Barnes, he wants to talk about his staff, and I think that is another caveat that we hadn't addressed when you look back at this era, is just the continuity. You know, it's not only players spending several years or really growing within the program. It's coaches like Justin Gainey or Greg Polinsky, Brian Lentz, you know, Garrett Miedenwald on the strength and performance side. These coaches,
Coach McClain now,
yeah,
first year.
Yep. These are the aforementioned have all been with Tennessee 5+ years. Sure, every once in a while you're going to have to replace an assistant, but there has been great continuity. And Rick's the first one to say, I feel like I got 5 head coaches as my assistants.
Well, why wouldn't you want to? Tennessee provides incredible resources, some of the best out there, great facility to play in, great fan base.
This is Hodge. Oh, my goodness, that's another. If that's a block, that's the 4th for Okpara. Tennessee has just broken it open. And they now lead it by 43. Final non-conference tune-up. Lob to Okpara, and he scores it.
They've given a clinic on how to make the extra pass and play under control, play fast, under control basketball, get it to the right guy. Very, very unselfish basketball tonight from Tennessee.
They're basically at a 75% assist rate, which is extraordinary. They 20 of their 28 makes are assisted. Oh, big-time lob to Ament. He has been the high-flying 5-star rookie tonight.
Make that 20-29.
Yeah. So Tennessee's across the 80-point threshold. Again, final non-conference tune-up, because you know what's looming? SEC opener in 4 days. We'll talk more about that when we return. Tennessee's up big on a Tuesday night. For an elite 65%, that's really good. So 75%, that is extremely hard to replicate on a night-in, night-out basis, and it shows you just how unselfish this team has been and wise with the decision-making today. Gillespie with the finger roll. Yeah, Gillespie with 19 to go along with the 6 assists.
Well, and you have a different roster this year where, for instance, Zakai Ziegler is, he made a living creating shots for people.
Yep.
And if, for this Tennessee team, you got to help each other get open. There's not, although Gillespie's very good, he can turn the corner, draw 2, 3 guys, and kick it out for a shot for his teammates. Just downhill, strong finish. Good sail off too right there by Dwayne Brown. Another play doesn't go to stat sheet, okay? But it makes life easy for your teammate. Just like you, Kevin Fitzgerald, make life easy for all of us.
I'm blushing over here. So kind of you to say. Tyndall cannot complete the 3-point play.
Well, you give me a ride to the airport tomorrow, right?
I always have you back.
Thank you.
Maybe not that far. It might make you, call a cab or something. I got places to be.
You got places to be. Can't hold you back.
6:35 to go.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, there you go. That's the other thing. You get your resolutions all, situated.
I'm procrastinating on that. Coincidentally, one is no more procrastinating.
I think we've identified the one change, the first change we can make for the new year. And by the way, in that new year, I said it before we went to break. So who is Tennessee opening up SEC play with? You go on the road, Bud Walton Arena. Ament, by the way, score it, and he's going to the line for one more. But Tennessee is going to open up at Arkansas to kick off SEC play in 4 days. And so look out, because that gauntlet is around the corner.
The next 4, 2 at home, 2 away. They play a surging. Right there, you just got a chance to see Nate Ament and his incredibly soft touch. He gets hit on the elbow. And that's a 7 to 8 foot soft touch, which is sort of an in-between type shot. Guys don't actually practice that. They'll, especially nowadays, they're practicing from the 3-point line or taking it straight to the rim.
He's the very skilled freshman. And South Carolina State, meanwhile, is going to go to the free throw line. That was Wright who drew the foul.
And yeah, so you get a surging Arkansas team who's been playing fantastic. Texas at home. Expect that to be a rowdy crowd, and obviously first-year head coach Sean Miller. So they're putting things together. The defending champs will go on the road to Gainesville. Now, that is going to be a matchup against the #1 offensive rebounding team versus the #2 offensive rebounding team. There's going to be a lot of big human beings crashing.
Like, get the ice baths ready for the post-game Tennessee, Florida.
Yes, exactly. We haven't seen the success in the non-conference like we did last year in the SEC. However, you look at that schedule. Texas A&M plays a dangerous style of basketball with what they call buckyball, full court pressure. They're going to get up a lot of threes.
Oh, look at Gillespie on the receiving end that time. Tennessee nearly takes the pass away in the backcourt. Carey trying to hustle to get back in it.
I think he took out 5 people in the first row. Maybe the whole first row. And then, of course, Kentucky, now they're healthy, is as good as anyone in the league.
Well, you said Carey had the fumble recovery earlier. Maybe it's a sack. Akara got that one. Are they going to count it? That one was on the way down. That would have been his 5th block, which would have been a new career high. I think this is on the way down. I think Steven Anderson got this right.
Close enough.
Closer, yeah, closer than I thought. Amen? No. Nevertheless, Tennessee, it was relatively close late stages of the first half. Tennessee ended the first half on a pretty significant run, had a 16-point lead at the break, and then really busted it open early on. For a moment here, let's keep spotlighting Jaden Johnson. I mean, he is going to be a problem for a lot of teams in the MEAC. Very clever, crafty,
very good,
and a well-rounded scorer. Even for his slight 6'1" frame, boy, he is a smart player.
Yeah, and he can get around you, maintaining his balance. He's made multiple floaters in the lane.
He's got 23 points tonight.
Yeah, and you know, look at Tennessee. What is a little bit different about this year's team, and when you look at the box score tonight, you see a lot of guys contributing from the offensive end. 2 years ago, you have DK, Dalton Connect. Last year, Chaz Lanier, right? These are your NBA scorers.
Oh, there's Carey, the throwdown.
So this year, you've got to do it more by committee, is my point. And tonight was good for other guys to gain their confidence. And you learn how to play with each other, where you like the basketball, where you don't, catch it in rhythm. Where do I throw this alley-oop to Okpara, or another good seal by Felix right there.
Amen steps into the 15-footer.
All those timing things are very important.
Last tune-up for the Vols. Non-conference play coming to a close tonight. And Tennessee, of course, in position to get to 10-3 before things get cooking in a couple of days.
I thought he was going to shoot that three. Felix for three.
He can stretch it. He's hit several times from distance. South Carolina State on the run out. Bronston struggled today. Finally gets one to go. He is known as a three-point shooter.
Good looking stroke.
Yep.
Sometimes you just don't know, going into a different gym, loud crowd, bright lights. John, SEC play.
Well, we just saw that shot of both Gillespie and Carey really soaking in their performances today. Gillespie with 21 points, 8 assists. Carey is the double-double, 13 and 10. So that's another double-double in this building for Carey. Remember, he had one against Louisville 2 weeks ago.
You can enjoy this one tonight.
Yep.
Tomorrow, you got to start getting ready. I don't care it's New Year's Eve. You got to start getting ready for SEC play. Hydrate, rest, nutrition, hit that free throw line. More important than anything.
You know, that was the one bugaboo, if we want to outline one tonight for Tennessee. They missed 13 free throws, so that's a big number. You know, you're going to get into a war in a few days with Arkansas. You want to be able to hit those at the line in hostile territory. But it's by no means takes away from the positives tonight for this program.
Right, and that was getting on the glass, and yes, I understand, you know, from an athletic physicality standpoint, they overmatched their opponent, but you still got to go out and do it. And the other thing is, and you want to set the tempo from the start of the game, number one, which they did. Turned it over some, but by the end of the first half, extended that lead, and then just never allowed South Carolina State to even sniff getting back in the game. So you want to be able to finish. Remember, that's what Coach said. We got to be able to finish.
Estrella, by the way, also 8 points and 9 boards today.
Love him.
And so for South Carolina State, 12th road game as it closes out non-conference play. They have spent the majority of the season away from home against many power conference opponents like South Carolina, Missouri, Louisville, Tennessee tonight. So Eric Martin, though, he does seem encouraged by the identity and how it's been forming in recent weeks. Of course, tonight they were overmatched just from a talent physicality standpoint, but they were projected to finish 3rd in the league. They are the defending co-champs in the MEAC. And so if this group can blend together like some of his rosters in years past, they will be very competitive in the MEAC.
And we've talked about this before. We'll probably be talking about it until people can figure out the transfer portal and get along with it. However, when you have so much turnover, a lot of teams have this. Roles are not identified, not defined. Guys learning to play with each other. There are teams who are fortunate enough to be bringing back 3, 4 guys. Think about Arkansas. Okay, they bring back DJ Wagner. Same team I'm talking. Carter Knox, Billy Richmond. And, of course, they add transfers that played a lot of college basketball.
About
Trevor Brazil, exactly, right? So you got 4 core guys that started basketball games for you last. That doesn't happen very often. So certainly Arkansas Coach Cal taking advantage of that. You need to, right?
Estrella is getting closer and closer to a double-double now. He's 1 rebound away if he can get it in the last 140.
You know, Coach Barnes with bringing back Estrella and Apara. And their front line was destined. They still are going to be something to deal with, but with the injury to Cade Phillips. Imagine having those 4 guys just dominate the paint.
There's Phillips out for the rest of the year. Shoulder surgery a few weeks back. So that you heard the uprising from the crowd here. That is, and it's the same player, by the way, in Raniel Wright, who has put an end to if the visiting team player misses consecutive free throws. All right, look, there's chicken sandwiches on the line.
All right, I was going to say.
Raniel Wright twice has said, "Nuh-uh, I don't think so."
Well, what if Tennessee hits 100? Is there something on the line for that?
Are you giving out chicken sandwiches?
No, sir. No, sir.
Are you putting your neck on the line for those chicken sandwiches if we go past 100?
We still got a packed house.
You better look out now. 1 away. This is right on the drive, and he lays it up and in. Nice move there for from the junior from Inglewood, California. Count it, and the foul. Amari Evans going to the line for 1 more.
You know, there's not many things that people love more than like free T-shirts at basketball games.
Oh, anything free. Right?
Breaking 100. Way to take the contact. Listen, freshman, good minutes from him. Important minutes moving forward. So just got to get minutes when you're, as a freshman, you just got to keep getting minutes. Henderson, same with him. Those guys are going to be called upon during the SEC season.
Ethan Berg, there were a lot of times you got a lot of minutes here. So you mentioned it before, very important games to exercise that depth. 3 in the air, that's offline. Tennessee on the run out here. Akpara running, Abram spots up for 3. Another Amari Abram putting the finishing touches on a Tennessee win.
The old wily veteran getting in there, getting a piece of the action. Always like to see that.
So Tennessee will finish non-conference play at 10-3. It opens up league play in 4 days against Arkansas. Tonight, 5 different Vols in double figures. Gillespie led the way with 21 and 2 Vols with double-doubles. Carrie and Estrella. It's 105 points tonight.